Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life bringing you the AA word of the day. And the word for today is doing anything to help. And today is December 15th, 2024. I almost said 1994. Sometimes I have those slips. Offer him, the alcoholic, friendship and fellowship. Tell him that if he wants to get well, you will do anything to help. And that is from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 95. And this is the daily reflections commentary. I remember how attracted I was to the two men from AA who 12 stepped me. They said I could have what they had with no conditions attached, that all I had to do was make my own decision to join them on the pathway to recovery. When I start convincing a newcomer to do things my way, I forget how helpful these two men were to me in their open minded generosity. And I think the one thing that I've learned in 33 years of sobriety is that everyone has their unique journey in sobriety. Uh, I've just, I've seen people who, if you asked me, I would have said they'll never get sober, and they're sober till this day. I saw people who many thought were almost like God on earth as far as AA went, and they stumbled and fell, and some never made it back. I had a very good friend. He could speak. I went to it was a Saturday meeting that I used to go to, and I came into the meeting, and someone came over to me, and I'll call him Paul. I said, "Did you hear about Paul?" I said, "No." Well, he was found dead in his car. And and just by listening to him speak, I would have thought that this guy's got it made. Because when I speak or talk before a group of people, I don't know. I just sometimes I feel like I'm not saying anything of importance, and I'm just I rattle on. I try to keep on topic, but my mind's going a mile a minute, and so I just you've got to let people work it out the way that they can work it out, and some will never work it out. I've mentioned before my sponsee who just jumped in front of a truck on the main highway in Rhode Island. He had had enough, couldn't find a way out, and ended his life that way. It was very tragic, and he was very, very young. I'm talking about 22, and and I thought I was an old fart getting into AA at 40, and here I am 74, and I'm still doing okay. Uh, yeah, you gotta let people do it. You know, the stresses that people have. Now, I'm not saying excuses, I'm saying stresses. A lot of the women are single parents having divorced their husbands. They have kids, it's tough for them to get to meetings. Uh, and there are guys that are working around the clock to support their family. And it's tough for them. It's tougher, you know. Everybody has it. Me, I had terminal shyness, absolutely terminal shyness. Uh, and and my journey was to pick probably the biggest meeting that was held in Rhode Island. So when I walked into that great hall at St. George's Church, it was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? What am I gonna do? And all these people standing around drinking coffee, laughing, going over and shaking hands. Do they all know each other? Is this some kind of conspiracy? And of course, I came to realize that it wasn't. But it was, we all have our own. For me, meetings were in the morning, mainly in the morning, because I was a third shift person and I worked third shift for 39 years. So I was catching my last bit of sleep when meetings were held at night. Now I did it on weekends. That Saturday meeting I just mentioned, if I had a weekend off, uh, I would go to the meeting. Once I got into healthcare, pretty much the rule for people working healthcare is you work every other weekend. So that cut down my nighttime meetings in half right away. Uh, but I had all the time to do morning meetings. And I'll tell you, when I was drinking, I found a group that went out and drank after the third shift. I certainly did. I worked in banking, the IT end of banking, and we'd all meet, play pool, get there about 8 o'clock, drink beers, and you know, probably leave after we left, ate lunch. Uh, I took a bus, so it's important not to come down on a heavy hand with uh, people that we sponsor. Uh, Let them try to work it out, and don't ever be surprised if they don't work it out and things don't end good. That we have a saying here that you can look forward to death, institutions, or prison. And so many of the people I've known, it's been death. And it's very sad because then there's no chance of recovery. Even in prison, you have a chance of recovery. So, God bless. Have a safe and sober December 15th. And I will talk to you tomorrow.